Have a seat, presented by Feiger Law. Once again, we have the president of baseball operations, Scott Harris, with us. A second timer.
A second time, there's only been two. There's only been two.
AJ Hinch and Scott Harris. A second timer on the podcast. We're going to cover a lot of ground. And we usually like to talk about the guest and somehow like attach the guest to a little bit of a conversation off the top here. But I'm going to make Dan Dickerson real uncomfortable.
No, you're not going to make me uncomfortable at all.
You don't know that. Over the past week as we tape this,
Yep.
we didn't have you with our traveling party for a couple days. And it's because you had a really sincere family emergency and your mom passed.
Yep, right.
First of all, it is just great to have you back. Your energy is so missed on the road.
Well, thank you.
And we all care about you so much. And Tiger fans have
And
been
that has
worried.
come through from so many texts and people reaching out.
Really?
Very heartwarming.
That's great. I tell us about your mom.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking about her because she was an amazing woman and a great mom. And I think the best part of the last few days, I mean, she had been in declining health and then had a stroke, and the end came quickly, and I was grateful for that. I truly was. I did not want to see her suffer. But I got there in time, thanks to the Tigers, to say goodbye. And that meant the world. But Mom she was just one of those lights in life, right? Growing up, I always told her, you made me the person I am. You gave me my outlook on life. That's the best way to put it. If there are parts of me you don't like, that's not Mom. The parts that
How so? What part of your outlook did she get?
just in terms of looking at kind of she wouldn't put it this way, but just the way she lived her life, kind of that glass half full, optimistic outlook, realistic outlook, but just the way she interacted with people and appreciated people and wanted to, she was big in Oakland County literacy, and she really helped form that group and delivered the gift of reading because she gave me that gift to people throughout Oakland County. I remember she would tutor people in our basement growing up.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it was just one of those things like, wait, people can't read? These are adults. And she committed those years to helping those people. And then when Mom and Dad got a divorce in the mid-90s, I just love how she created at 66, created a whole new life for herself. She had they had moved to Washington, D.C. My dad worked at the Pentagon in the 80s, moved back to Michigan after he was done with that job. She really loved being in the Washington, D.C. area. And again, she had worked at a local high school and again, in the literacy or just in reading, helping out however she could. And so she went back and created this whole new life for herself. At 66, World Wildlife Federation, again, working at a high school. I mean, just all the volunteer things, very involved in a local church. She would do pilgrimages overseas.
Really?
Yeah. To the island of Iona. I mean, just like there is nothing there. But so anyway, she lived her life and she made so many good friends of all ages. I mean, we're hearing from all people of, again, all ages, because she always just wanted to engage with new people and spread the just kind of joy and love every day. And she was amazing. She really was.
What did she think of her son's talent for announcing?
Oh, I don't think, I do remember asking, I always think of this. It's like, I don't know if the question was, but it's just like, kind of, what do you want to do when I was in my teen years? Or I just told her because I was doing a great job doing play-by-play on Stratomatic baseball games in the basement.
Yeah.
I was really killing it. And I remember telling her, I'm going to be the next Brent Musburger, who was the big name, right? Having no idea. I didn't think I could be the next Ernie Harwell. That was reaching too much. But the next Brent Musburger, I could see that. And she didn't go like, let's be realistic here. She was like, kind of, okay, that's nice. And so she always encouraging. I don't think she thought anything one way or the other. I think she was certainly proud of me. We joked that at her apartment, there's the shrine to Dan because all these articles she had printed
Oh,
up
really?
to my brother and sister. I'm like, can I have the shrine?
You didn't have to bargain for the shrine, right? You just got it?
So we got a kick out of that.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, she was proud of me, but she's proud of all of her kids, right? For whatever we've done in life.
What are some of the sayings, some of the things that she instilled?
I always think of, I'm not sure she didn't have sayings,
Okay.
but I do remember one day coming, she would pick me up from school and, before I could driving home, you'd be like, how was your day? Fine. She goes, that's not good enough.
Ah.
Let's converse here. Tell me about your day. I always remember that. So, maybe that launched me into the career I'm in because now I talk a lot.
That, that's amazing.
How was your day? Fine. Not good enough.
I
I literally remember the car ride and
that's
I didn't want to talk.
that's beautiful. Before we get to Scott Harris, I do want to say, and people saw this when we had your day last year,
Mhm.
but your love for your wife and your children is endless. And I just wonder how your mom colored what you are as a dad and a husband.
Just very, and she was a great grandma too, to Rachel and Justin. And, she would come up in the summer and we'd rent a cottage and she'd play Scrabble on the porch with Rachel and Justin and their friends.
I bet she was good at Scrabble.
She was killer. She was really good. Rachel's maybe the best though.
Really?
Yeah, she's got a gift. So yeah, she just, I don't know. She just, the way she went about her life and, you wanted to be like mom. She always gave us love, unconditional love. And I think if you just start there with kids, unconditional love them. And then hopefully teach them the right lessons. All that really comes from mom.
I hope you know that you are that to millions of people on a nightly basis. Like you are there unconditionally. Truly.
Well, I
And you
appreciate
love
that.
baseball.
I
and you
do.
love our
I
audience.
love what I do.
It's
Yeah.
it's funny as you say that. That comes through your personality.
Yeah, whenever people say, I like your work, I'm like, I love what I do. 26 years in, it still feels as fresh as ever.
And you love it the same, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
100%.
We are all extraordinarily sorry for your loss.
Well, thank you.
And so many people have asked and like I'm just glad you're willing to talk about your mom because I can
I'm
tell
very
how
happy
much.
she has a lot of friends. Many have passed, but still in this area, because that was growing up. They had an incredible circle of good people that they got together with all the time. And
Her name, by the way, we
Rosemary.
And
Rosemary Wilcox Dickerson. And Rachel is Rachel Rosemary Dickerson.
oh, is that right?
Yeah. So that name will definitely live on in our family.
It's beautiful. Scott Harris is with us. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
By the
I
way,
appreciate that.
thank you for being willing. Scott Harris is a new dad in the last year plus.
Yep.
And we don't get to it until the tail end of the conversation, but
I love it.
it
I
might
love
be the best part.
description. I know. I love it.
And he was pretty open.
He really was.
And we asked some questions that I don't know that he was necessarily ready for in terms of us asking them. Like he was ready.
Oh,
to
he's
answer
always
that.
ready.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. But I don't know that he was necessarily expecting the question
Yeah.
where we got. And I always appreciate that about Scott.
Yep.
And the one thing that he does above anybody I've been around in that job is very specific details with each player.
Yeah. You just realize how much he knows about the game and all the detail that goes into his job and how he approaches his job every day. It's incredible. The layers and the level of detail.
Yeah. That's, for me, I don't know about you, that's the reason, in large part, this team has been successful.
No question.
As a group.
And will be.
Yeah. Individual players have done the work.
Right.
Clearly. Overarchingly, that's what makes this team unique to me.
I agree.
Agree?
How the pieces fit together, you never know, but they fit together pretty well.
As they said in The Wire, all the pieces matter. And we'll learn that from Scott Harris right now.
This is Have a Seat with Jason Benetti and Dan Dickerson, presented by Feiger Law.
Feiger Law, have a seat. Thanks for joining us, Scott Harris, president of baseball operations, our second repeat guest.
Yes.
How do you feel?
In better digs, I will note. This place is. Where did we do last time?
Not here,
Not
for
here, yeah.
sure, for sure. We did it in the conference room.
We did
with
in the
you.
conference.
Yeah,
room.
exactly. Way
Much-
better.
Bunch nicer.
Way better.
Yeah, which fits somehow, right? Like you're in that conference room. How many hours?
It gets
A year?
dark sometimes. There are no
It gets
windows.
dark.
Both physically, both literally and figuratively, it gets dark in there. So,
And you dressed up for us.
yeah, exactly. It's definitely not the team photo that we have to shoot right after this.
It's
It's
all about the have a seat. You've seen what other guests have worn.
exactly.
Yeah.
Feiger Law, dressed like a lawyer.
Great. Appreciate that. I feel like I'm about to take the LSAT. Great. Let's start with the trade deadline and how that all shakes out, because you have an injury to Reese Olson right before the deadline, not long before. First of all, when other general managers, presidents see that, how do the calls change?
Well, the calls definitely change. We tried to make a move before that became public.
Okay.
And we did. We traded for Chris Paddock before, we had gotten to the point where we could announce Reese Olson's injury. Sometimes this medical process takes a little bit longer than we all would have liked. MRIs, repeat MRIs, second opinions, all of that stuff. But the moment we realized that Reese was going to have to come out of our rotation, we identified a need and tried to move pretty quickly to fill that need. And we were able to get Chris before those phone calls changed, which I think was a big boost for us. And it's a credit to our entire acquisition team who worked really hard to identify Chris and put us in a position where we could fill the need before that news became public.
I want to ask then from that, you say need there, but it seems like you identify skill sets. Like Kyle Finnegan has been great and he has a specific skill set, fastball splitter. Like how much is it need? How much is it person? How much is it very granular skill set? What do you look for at a trade deadline when you're buying?
Yeah, I hope our fans have noticed a pattern since I've been here, in that when we evaluate players for a free agent signing or a trade, we don't limit our imagination to what the player is right now. Like, we really need to evaluate what the player is right now. We also push ourselves to evaluate what the player can be when we bring that player into our culture, and hopefully make some adjustments that can help that player reach another level of performance. So, our fans have seen and heard the story of Tarek Skubal, before and after the adjustment to his changeup grip. Our fans have, seen the whole story with Torque before and after the swing change adjustments. We've seen, what Jack Flaherty looks like before and after. We have an entire offseason geared towards changing the way he is pitching when we signed him 2 years ago. Sometimes those adjustments, that major league development, can unlock performance at a higher level than the back of your baseball card. All the credit for that goes to the players. Like, they're the ones actually making the change. They're the one doing all the hard work. They're the ones staying open-minded and determined. However, we have all these success stories about guys that are making adjustments to reach a higher level of performance. So we've pushed ourselves to layer in adjustments into our evaluation process. So when we're looking at, different players around the league, let's figure out what Kyle Finnegan is right now on the Nationals team. But let's imagine, hey, are there adjustments that we think we can make with, his pitch grips? Do we think there's adjustments with how he can sequence or where he is attacking hitters? If the answer is yes, let's really dig deep and figure out our relative level of conviction that we can help him get there. And if it's high, let's go get him. Sometimes these adjustments drive our evaluation process, which then drive our decision process. And it's not always visible in the press release when you get them. But sometimes we're not looking at it as the ERA he had when we traded for him staying steady and linear throughout the duration of his tenure here. It's no, if we get him and he can make these adjustments and we can help him make these adjustments, then all of a sudden we can unlock performance that far exceeds the level he was at when we traded for him. We're not going to get it all right. We're going to make a ton of mistakes. We've made a ton of mistakes when we've been here, but our track record has been pretty good with these adjustments and unlocking performance that exceeds what the player was before he became a Tiger.
And it seems like there's been a ton of churn this year on the roster. 33 different pitchers, not including Jake Rogers and Tomas Nido. And it seems like, so it feels like sometimes it can be just, okay, we're going to take a shot at this guy. We're going to take a shot at this guy. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but then you hit on that guy. It can take 4 or 5 guys to find that one guy. Okay, we made the change. Now he becomes a big piece. I think of Rafael Montero. That was not an obvious pickup at the trade deadline with his high walks, low strikeouts. He'd even walked more than he'd struck out in the month of July when you got him. But clearly you felt like there was something there. Describe what that process was like, because right off the bat, it didn't look good through the first 3 appearances, 4 innings, 4 walks, 4 runs. And now it looks like he's starting to be a piece.
Yeah, adjustments take time. It's harder to make adjustments with a player you get in season than it is in the off season. You know, I don't think we could have helped Jack become the pitcher that he was last year and this year if we had acquired him at the deadline, because it was an overhaul on his delivery and some of the adjustments that he was working on with specific pitches. So when we see these players make adjustments, we can't forget the human element on this. It's really hard to do this. And, you know, it's not as simple as just like, you know, asking him to do it right when you trade for him. Like sometimes you got to get to know the guy. You got to like get to know how to coach him, how to reach him. Like AJ and Fett and Robin and Juan are excellent at, you know, finding ways in with these guys, like building trust before you actually like bring something to them. I think we're starting to see the performance that we forecasted with a lot of these guys, but specifically Montero. Like that appearance he had in Sacramento for us was huge for us. You know, the inning he threw in Kansas City on Sunday was really big for us, helps us save our bullpen. Yesterday he pitched well for us. We think that with his natural athleticism and arm strength, that there are some adjustments that we can make to his pitch mix, specifically his fastball, that can help him get above a barrel, because we know the split is going to get below a barrel and he'll be able to miss bats and induce ground balls. So we're working on it. It's not a finished product, but we're pleasantly, you know, surprised with how quickly he's been making the adjustments and how open-minded he's been.
It's kind of amazing because, I mean, you guys have an idea when you get a guy. And he said right away, it's like he realized his fingers had started to spread apart on the 4-seam and brought him back together. And it was cutting too much and running too much. It was moving all over the place. Now he's got that more direct line to home plate, throwing more strikes. I mean, just a little thing like that you've identified. And you could tell that he was excited about that.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, you know, at his best, I think he's a north-south pitcher. Like, he has the 4-seamer that gets above a barrel. He has a split that gets under a barrel. But he can surprise a hitter with a 2-seamer that runs in and saws off a barrel like he did on Sunday. Or he can, you know, throw that surprise slider that he had in Minnesota that, you know, plays the East-West game too. So we want guys that can use their best shapes in different situations. And we think he's really a 4-pitch mix guy that can keep hitters off balance. He's still working through these adjustments. There may be some bumps in the road, but we're pleased with the progress so far.
Building a bullpen seems like such a tricky thing. You can talk about the difference in performance year to year by ERA, but still it's, I mean, you're identifying skills, right? What are the biggest skill sets or when you're putting a bullpen together, the biggest things you're looking for? And I'm thinking of, you know, different looks. Can they get out both sides of the plate, opposite side platoon? How much swing and miss is there? What are the things what are your foundational things when you're trying to build a bullpen? Because that becomes so big in the postseason.
I know this will really surprise you, but strikes are a big thing. Like we want.
You should have given us the opportunity to finish the sentence.
Right.
Strikes.
We want guys that grab strike one. We want first pitch strikes. We want guys that can keep pressure on hitters, and we want guys that force hitters to beat them. You know, if we have guys that start with strikes and are unafraid to use their best shapes in the zone, we feel really confident that we can help them develop shapes that will be effective both to miss barrels and to induce soft contact on the ground. And I think the last 2 years have been pretty effective for us. We're also going to continue to build our bullpen throughout the entire season. You know, I can't remember if I said this to you, but like, we were working on Troy Melton as a big part of our bullpen for months and months before he actually was up here. Because if we learned anything last year, it's that the only thing that really matters in October is like how they're throwing the ball right now and the weapons that we have. Like there wasn't necessarily a foregone conclusion that Bo Brisky was going to play the role that he did in October last year in May. Like it's hard to forecast that, but all of the work over and over again by the players first and foremost, and our coaches and our development staff, like create options into October. And I like the way that this bullpen is trending. We have a lot of different shapes. We're going to get another one with Paul Sewald jumping onto this team soon. We're going to have a pretty dynamic mix.
So as you balance that, first, before we haul off on something other than like transactions and a little bit of palace intrigue with transactions, the waiver process, like we've seen you claim some bullpen arms. How practically does the waiver process work? Like the waiver wire, do you have people working on that? Like when somebody gets DFA'd, do you all have alerts on your phone on an app? What's the deal?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
So it's like ESPN alert about your favorite team in football, and then like an alert about your Ring camera, and then like this person got DFA'd. That's what your phone looks like?
Basically, yeah. No, it's I mean, listen, like I talk about like adjustments like they're easy. They're not. Like I said in my first day in this organization, like we want to build a culture of development. We want this to be a destination for players to come and get better. That doesn't just happen. Like you don't just throw on the old English D and you get better. Like it happens through a lot of people behind the scenes that aren't in front of this microphone, like working really hard to identify potential adjustments. Because if we want our players to get better every day, our content has to get better every day. We got to push ourselves to have better ideas for them all the time. So when they're ready, we don't know when they're going to be ready, but when they're ready to try something new, we got the right thing. It's been completely stress tested. We know how to coach it. We know how to communicate with the players. We know how to reach them. And that starts, when a player is available for trade or for signing or on waivers or something like that, like we get to work. There's a bunch of people behind the scenes who are working really hard of like, again, let's evaluate the player that he is right now. And oftentimes those situations, a player that got designated for assignment isn't really contributing, but like, let's not limit our evaluation to what he is now. Let's imagine what he could be in the right environment with adjustments that can bring out some of that latent ability we may or may not have identified. And then the last piece of it is let's hold ourselves accountable. Like, let's really push ourselves and be self-aware. Like, what's our level of conviction that we can actually achieve these adjustments? If it's high, let's go get the player. If it's not, then maybe we wait and try to get them later on, like in an offseason or something when we have a longer runway to work through things.
So that's part of the equation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That, like, I think of Carlos Hernandez. That looked like a great guy to take a chance on, right? 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Looked like he might be able to. Didn't work out, but that's a guy that you might wait for the next offseason.
Yeah, I mean, not commenting on him specifically,
Right,
but
no,
like
but
there
I
are
mean-
guys that you can achieve adjustments with, like when you have 2 months or when you have spring
Right.
training or whatever that you can't really do in season. But that's the beauty of our game. Like, in some of these other sports, like if you don't perform within 18 months out of getting drafted in the NFL or the NBA or whatever, like you're gone and you never come back. And like a lot of the times, like these players are in their like pre-prime years. Like they haven't even reached their athletic prime and they're out of these leagues. But in baseball, we give guys so many chances, so many opportunities to be the late bloomer type that can, be a Justin Turner or a Nelson Cruz or a Rich Hill or all these guys. And that's one of the beauties of baseball. Like we do have these big development apparatuses that really give guys more and more chances to ultimately achieve their ceiling. And in this organization, we're going to give guys chances.
So if you miss on a guy, you go back and just, okay, what did we miss here? Or what did we do wrong? Or you know what? We had a high level of confidence, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. And sometimes like you stay pretty determined to get a guy like a Bailey Horn or something like that. Like we got him a few times and we lost him and then we got him again. Like we try to stay on guys. We try to build, evaluation histories with these guys. And like sometimes like you can't get a guy, like you're too deep in the waiver order or like you don't get a trade done or he signs somewhere else. And like we follow those guys really closely because, maybe another team's going to do the same thing we were going to do and it's going to fail. And it's like, okay, we can learn something from that. So my scorecard is pretty wide. Like I hold myself accountable, not on just the deals we do, but on the deals we don't do that we purposely pull out of or like decide not to do, but also like the deals that we couldn't get done. If that guy goes somewhere else and performs at a really high level, okay, we're on the right guys. And if that guy goes somewhere else and performs poorly, like I should beat myself up over it because I was ready to do that decision. Like I was ready to add him to that team. So no one is a harsher critic of me than myself, and I try to make sure that we look at the entire universe of decisions and non-decisions and hold ourselves accountable, because that's the only way to get better in such a competitive league.
It's funny you say like a guy's a late bloomer in baseball or whatever it might be. It feels almost like in this game you can have both in a very short span, where somebody feels like it's going to take a long time and then suddenly they're well ahead of the curve. We had Colt Keith on this podcast, and he told us that at every level he's been like annoyed with himself. Like, why can't I hit this fastball? Why is this not working in AA? In AAA, he was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do this. And then he does. He has the first couple months last year and then turns in a nice season, and he's gotten better this year. How do you evaluate that, see that in the middle of it, when you know that both outcomes are actually possible?
Yeah, I mean, we start with the skills, traits, attributes that won't necessarily change. Like we start with
Take Colt, for example.
yeah.
Like, what are those?
We start like the true talent level of Colt. Like, what are some things that like really attracted us to Colt? Like, it's a short, compact swing with strength through contact. It's a really good approach. He has both a hit tool and a power tool. That's hard to find, right? A guy who can really produce a quality major league at bat, who can hit for average and get on base, but also do damage. Like that's hard to find. He's left-handed. He's pretty athletic. Like I remember, his first hit in the big leagues in Chicago, like he beat out like a chopper down the first base line. And like, I think someone asked him after the game, he's like, I'm actually fast. Like, I don't know. You guys haven't given me credit for that. So we see an athlete in there with, that short, compact, left-handed swing that we really like. We know that's going to stay consistent, right? But if you're a hitter in the big league environment, like it's a game built on failure. It's really tough, like mentally and emotionally, even for the best hitters in baseball. Like it's really tough.
You
like,
talk to Colt, and he's just, all the time he's like, I can't see the ball right now.
100%.
I'm trying to find my swing.
Yeah. But he had a couple bullets yesterday that he didn't get rewarded for. Like that goes on his scorecard too. Like we evaluate that too. Like it's not just looking at his like triple slash line and like determining if he's going to be a good player or not. So we try to stay anchored on the outcomes that he can control and think, is he swinging at the right pitches? Is he making a lot of contact? And is he hitting the ball hard in the air? He's always done that, like throughout his career. The first half of last year was like pretty difficult for him, but he came out of it. I think the leap from last year to this year is pretty notable for him. Like he's swinging at better pitches, still making a ton of contact, and he's hitting the ball really hard in the air, and specifically to the pull side. Like he's pulling the ball in the air a little bit more this year. That was a hallmark of what he did in the minor leagues. I think there's more in there. I think there's more power that's going to come in there without losing the hit tool. But it takes time. Like it's really hard.
It just does take time.
It just takes time,
especially with developing power here.
Right.
But simultaneously, we're talking to you September 2nd. Like the hourglass, gravity pulls the sand at a different pace sometimes, it feels like, in his season. So how do you balance all of that with what you want to do this year as well?
Yeah. So let's step back for a second and let's like talk about my job from a higher level. Like
okay.
My job is not to stitch together stat lines to create wins. Like it's not. This game is played by human beings. Like my job is to build a functional roster full of players who are in it for the right reasons, who play for each other, who play for a city, who play for the fans, who get a little bit more out of each other, who are determined to win, who are open-minded and adaptable to the environment that they face. One of the challenges that comes when you have a game where humans actually have to play it is like performance isn't linear. Like there's variance all over the place. So a roster is not just the 26 guys that line up on the line on opening day, and then we'll see 6 months later if they're good enough to make the playoffs. Like that's not how it works in the modern game. Like we have to build an organization and a roster that's deep enough to endure the challenges that will inevitably come across a 6-month major league season. What do I mean by that? I mean, guys aren't going to perform at the same level every single day for 162 games. There are going to be hot streaks. There are going to be slumps. There are going to be injuries. There are going to be, moments of unforeseen adversity. Like, we got to build an organization that is, strong enough and deep enough to face all those challenges head on. We also have to be open-minded in our evaluations of these players. Like, things are changing every single day. So we can't just throw a label on a player or have a fixed evaluation of a roster or a player and just assume it's going to stay constant throughout. There are so many contributions from so many people, like you've already named a couple of them, that we can't forget about. Like, if you want to win, if you want to ultimately achieve our goal, which is to win the World Series, you got to start by winning a lot of games in the regular season, and you got to win a division. So we're trying to do that right now. And there are a lot of people pulling on this rope that we kind of forget about from time to time. Like, you mentioned one, like Tomas Nido. Like, remember him? Like, he came up at a period of like really high need for us. Jake Rogers had just pulled his oblique.
Yep.
We lost one of our two catchers. We worked hard to try to get a player like Nido this offseason in case that were to happen. And Tomas came up and hit 340 for like 6 weeks and gave us really important contributions from the catching position. Now, when Jake got back, Jake earned his job back, and then Tomas Nido found himself in AAA. And so the fact that he found himself in AAA, like, does that make it a bad decision? Like, he didn't stick on across the whole season? No, it's a really good decision. It's a really good baseball decision because he gave us contributions at a really like important time of need. And so if we want to achieve our goal, we got to stack as many good baseball decisions as possible. That's a really good baseball decision. Like, similarly, like, if you have a player, like, take Tommy Kahnle, really good example. We added him to this team. He had a sub-2 ERA for the first 3 months of the season during periods in which our bullpen wasn't performing as well as we would have liked, but he was pitching basically every other night, gave us a shutdown inning in the highest leverage moments of those games. And we ended up, I think, winning more games than anyone else in the first half. We can't do that without Tommy Kahnle. Now, telling the full story of Tommy, he hit some adversity in July. He gave up a lot of runs in a short window of time. Like, is that a good decision or a bad decision? It's actually a really good decision because his adversity that he faced in July doesn't erase the contributions that he had for the
So
first
those first 3 months are important.
Really, really important. And having the depth to be able to shift his role a little bit to help him work through some adjustments that he's working through right now to hopefully get back to that level of performance without losing games, without like leaving our pen bare. Like, it's a really important factor in building a roster because a roster is a living, breathing, changing thing. And it takes like a lot of care every single day to make sure we're continuing to put these players in a position to succeed and continuing to make good decisions. And Jay Henn came up yesterday. He's another good one. He helped us walk off Aroldis Chapman, one of the best relievers in baseball, and sweep the Red Sox. Like, those are all really important contributions that we can't forget about across the long season because that's how you win divisions. That's how you win the World Series.
I like that thought of it's a living, breathing thing. So as you kind of look at this 26-man roster, and it's like, do you feel like as the season goes on, you're like, okay, we've got a good season going here. We've got one of the best records in the game. We're trying to build something for the postseason that it just kind of all comes together slowly but surely so that you're building toward, okay, now by the end of September, and you've got the luxury of a 9-game lead right now. Now all the pieces are fitting into place. Is that kind of how you look at it in terms of every time you make a move, you're trying to make it a little bit better at the margin?
Yeah, and we're trying to challenge our own evaluations of our guys and the right mix. Like, anyone who's followed us for the last 3 years, like, knows we're just going to try to arm AJ with the best 26 guys we can for a given series to help him win. We're going to do that every single series. If it means a lot of roster moves to like change the makeup of our pen.
You did that for like 5 series in a row.
Yeah. If it means like moving some starters around, if it means like giving him extra bats to come up in big spots, like, we're going to keep doing that because those are the micro decisions that it takes to like end up with the best record in the American League and a team that really could win the World Series. And there's just a lot more that goes into it than, putting together a lineup card and like hoping that it's going to be good enough to win every night.
We were talking to AJ in Anaheim about the aggressiveness on the base path of this Tigers team. And he mentioned watching the Angels from 20 plus years ago now when they went to the World Series and their level of pounce on you as a base running team.
Relentless.
Where did that version of base running come in your mind? We know his trajectory historically and how he got there in part. How did you get there as a strategy?
I got there just because, I talk about this a million times. Like every time you give me a microphone, I talk about pressure because that's how we build this team. Like at every point, how do we put the most pressure on the opposing team? Like with how we use our pitching, with how we build our lineups, with how we pinch it, with how we position our infielders, with how often we play the infield in, like all of those things. Like it all contributes to adding pressure. I think the base running part is a really important part of all of this. We wanted a young athletic team that could play the game fast. And we wanted to find ways to just grab little edges. I will tell you, like, there's actually a good example from the weekend. If you remember in Saturday's game, Wenzel Perez singled, and then Dingler came up. He hit a little flare over the second baseman's head. Wenzel got an excellent read, took off for third, went to first to third, and then Ding took the extra base on the backside, right? So
Seen that over and over.
over and over again, right? Let's break down that situation. Like, if you're not running the bases aggressively, it's first and second there. Instead, it's second and third, right? So obviously a lot of pressure on the opposing team, but we just grabbed 180 feet because Wenzel grabbed an extra bag and so did Ding. But also, like, if you think about like where this game is today, like there's this fascination with power, this focus on power, right? Because power is highly predictive of run scoring across a team. I think of base running as just another version of power. So does Ding get a single or a double on that play? He gets a single. My question is, like, who cares? What's the difference? Like, he's on second and Wenzel's on third. Like, he doesn't get the extra, total base that contributes to slugging percentage. But functionally for our team, like, we're in the same spot that we would have been if he hit a double that, like, Wenzel had to, like a ground rule double or something like that in this situation. So running the bases the way we do both, forces some, like, errant throws and bobbles in the outfield. It also puts a lot of anxiety in the opposing dugout, but it also, like, tangibly, like, helps us score runs because it's a variant of power, and it also, like, forces these mistakes that ultimately helps us score more runs across an entire season.
There was a great shot of Juan Soto yesterday. Couldn't believe, I think, that Torkelson made it first to third. Again, another great read.
Yeah.
Great read. A lot of guys stop at second base. I would say 90 plus stop at second base.
For sure.
And he goes to third, and Soto, great accurate throw. And he couldn't believe he didn't get him.
Yeah.
It's become like a defining characteristic of this team. That's what we expect our guys to do. And by the way, like, we can't forget about this. We're trying to win games. Like, that's our goal. We also want to play an entertaining brand of baseball. It's pretty fun to watch these guys get after it. And it's almost like when there's a guy on first and there's a single, you expect him to go first or third.
They don't know how to stop a second.
Exactly. It's good. It's fun to watch for us, and it also helps us win games.
I was just clicking around before we did this on Baseball Savant, which can be a problem.
Yeah, you can go down rabbit holes.
It's a problem. But I was looking at the 2021 Giants.
Yeah.
You only had 3 guys that were in positive base running run value. I just wonder if, like, as you've watched teams, Cubs, Giants, whomever it might be, you watch the league, like, how much has this idea of pressure come recently? And what do you think helps put you over the top? Like, how much of it is rule changes, current baseball? Like, what are the factors there?
Yeah. I mean, we try to tailor our strategy to the personnel that we have.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really careful so that none of the 2021 Giants catch strays here.
And
But
let me be clear. That was just a random pick of a team. Apologies to anybody who feels like they're catching strays.
Yeah.
But it's a significant, like, Colt Keith is +4 in the same stat this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we have a much younger team than that team.
Yeah.
We have a more athletic team than that team. That team put pressure on opposing teams in a different way with some of the same, traits as this team, but a little bit different in the quality of bat that they had, and just, some of the other skills that team had. I think this is just another level of it. Like, we're going to keep finding ways to apply pressure. And as the roster changes, we're just going to find new ways. Like, I think our outfield defense is pretty good right now. It's going to keep getting better. Like, there are some players in the minor leagues that play the game really fast, And then when they get up here with a pretty big outfield here, we're going to be able to put pressure the other way on teams whereby like we're preventing a lot of first to thirds. We're also preventing a lot of like, singles that stretch into doubles because of how fast we play in the corners and how fast we play in the gaps to get to balls quickly and stop those other teams from doing to us what we're trying to do to them.
So you're talking in the future tense about those guys, though. Why aren't they here now?
How much time you got?
I got all the time in the world. Well, actually, Scoob's going to be in this seat in like 45 minutes to do some other podcast. So like we got 45 minutes, I think. Is that enough time?
Yeah, I think so. No, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm going to try to summarize it as concisely as I can. I think, the first call out here is like development isn't a race to like some performance threshold. It's not
who we're talking about, by
let's
the
be
way.
clear, yeah. It's
what players we're
Max
talking
Clark,
about.
Yeah.
Kevin McGonigal, Briseño.
Yeah. The guys that went up together.
Yeah, and you're not talking about all of them. Like there are more guys down there that are really good, but like let me just talk about them like and kind of what goes into how fast they move. Like first of all, like development isn't a race to 1,000 OPS. Like, oh, he has 1,000 OPS in 15 games, let's move him. Like he's conquered the level. Like that's not actual development. Like there's a lot of work that they're doing right now. And everything is geared towards getting them to Detroit as fast as we can and helping them reach their ceilings as soon as we possibly can. So everything they're doing, like that group in AA and the guys below them, we're doing to try to get them here to help us win games. I think, stepping back for a second, that group in AA, they're really good players. They're going to be really good big leaguers. But our belief in them, our faith in them, doesn't mean we can afford to stop developing them. We got to keep going and keep developing them with as much intention and care as we did right when we drafted them. Because, as I have gone through this game, as I have studied, minor league hitters and major league hitters, like there are a few things that stick out to me. Like one, every step really matters. Like the development, the things they are learning in AA really matter. Like that's predictive of their future in the big leagues. What they learn in AAA is really going to matter too. I think like a really important call out in this conversation is like big league pitching is better than it has ever been, ever. Yet somehow like there's this momentum towards moving guys faster. Intellectually, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So think about that for a second. Like the big league environment has gotten even harder to hit in, yet we want to move these guys a little bit faster. Like step back and look at the entire population of guys that have moved. Like there are a lot of guys that have moved really quickly in the last like 5-10 years. And undoubtedly there are like anecdotes, like the guy in Sacramento right now, Nick Kurtz, is like raking. There are exceptions when like guys come up and they don't really transition, they just start raking. But if you look at that whole population, like I'm not really sure that the success rate is as high as we think it is.
Somebody told me last year it's like
it to be.
More than 2/3 of the top prospects, however they define that, end up after a call up going back down.
Right. So look at them. Like look at the whole population. Like a bunch of guys, like compelling track records. They suggest that they have conquered the minor leagues, and they come up and they ultimately earn a second or a third or a fourth tour in the minor leagues because like they struggle when they get up to the big leagues. And a lot of those guys end up struggling for the first 2 or 3 years of their big league careers before they ultimately become the middle order bats that you want to be. Look at us right now. Like we have the best record in the American League. We're trying to win the World Series. Like that's not a good outcome for us. Like them coming up and like really struggling right now doesn't help our team win games, and it doesn't help them reach their ceilings even sooner. So like it's really important to stay focused on what we're trying to do. And we're trying to win the World Series right now, and every single year in the future, we're going to try to win the World Series. So we got to make sure that when they come up here, they're going to help us right away and get to their ceilings a lot sooner. I think the second important call out here is like, and I might have to duck after I say this one, but they're moving fast. They're moving real fast. Like
How fast?
Max Clark's 20 years old. Jose Briseño's 20 years old. Kevin McGonigal just turned 21. They're 4 years younger than the average competition they're facing right now in AA. They're moving real fast. Like, so we got to be like careful and intentional and aware of what they're doing. and how fast they're moving right now. And they're moving fast. I promise you we're not like slowing them down. They are moving really fast. But this really matters. And the last thing I would say here is like from studying minor league hitters and major league hitters, both the success stories and the failures.
Right.
One thing that comes out of it is time at AA and AAA really matters. The reps, the opportunity to face different types of pitching, the opportunity to go back through the league and face the pitchers a second time, the opportunities to like learn the angles and footwork and speed of the game at each level against way older competition. That's all going to help them transition faster, reach their ceiling sooner. And so as counterintuitive as it sounds, like sometimes the fastest way to get these guys to Detroit and performing is by being patient through development. And we're being as patient as we reasonably can be, all against the backdrop of them moving really fast. So maybe it's more than you bargained for with that answer, but like these guys are going to be really good, and it's really on us to make sure that we finish off their development and get them here in a way that can help this team win the World Series.
So obviously a lot of the can't miss kids league-wide miss. They don't turn out to be the players that everybody, I mean, you look at the top 100 from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where are they today? What is the separator in your experience? What have you learned about, all right, what we can identify, this is a can't miss kid, the similar guy missed a few years ago, this guy we believe can make it with this degree of certainty. What are the separator in those guys?
It starts with makeup. Like, how are these kids wired? Like, how focused are they? How obsessed are they with getting better? How obsessed are they with the, finer parts of their game? Like, they see themselves on Twitter hitting bombs too, but like, are they as focused on their base running? Are they as focused on their footwork at shortstop or in center field as they are with their swing? Like, if yes, like that's pretty powerful trait that they have, and these kids have it for sure. Like, the other thing that I think is really important is like we got to see around the corner here. We got to forecast the things that are going to get exposed at the higher level and challenge them on those things right now. So I don't want to move these guys and like have them fall on their faces for a preventable, area of exposure. Like, let's work on that now. Like, if there's a specific, hole in their zone or whatever,
Right.
like a pitch type in a certain location, let's work on it now. Like,
Don't wait till you come to the major leagues where
No.
everybody's going to exploit that from day one.
Exactly, which often creates a lot of the failures. Like, hey, this guy's got a hole at the top of the zone, like the top rail on like really good four-seamers with velocity and angle. Like, let's work on that right now.
So
Let's not like bring them to the big leagues, let them fail, like crush their confidence, send them back down, and then have them ride the bus between Toledo and Detroit over and over again. Like, we can work on that stuff now.
I wanted to get to Dillon Dingler anyway, but this is a perfect time for that, because if you could share then what's something that Dillon Dingler learned in the minors that we are taking for granted as a part of his skill set right now.
Yeah. Catchers are always really hard through development. Like, they often take a lot longer than other positions. I think specifically with Ding, it was really interesting. The pitches he was swinging and missing on versus the pitches that he wasn't through the minor leagues. We thought he had real strengths. We thought that, both his zone control and his coverage of the plate could improve at every level. I think that was one area that got exposed in his like early taste. So if you go back through his track record, like basically every time he got promoted, he really struggled for like that first taste of the new level. And then he came back and conquered that level, which shows like a guy that is obsessed with the little things in his game and a guy that is like highly adaptable to the competition. We saw it in the big leagues too. Like, he really struggled down the stretch last year. Like, he didn't catch a single game in the playoffs, and now he's like one of the better catchers in all of baseball. Like, again, all the credit for his development goes to Ding, because he's the one that actually did the work and stayed obsessed and determined to get better. But the traits and skills and underlying attributes that suggested his true talent level were really, really high. I just think that needed a little bit more refinement, especially at the plate with the certain pitches that he was covering versus not covering. And I think he's largely conquered that here. And I think he's going to continue to get better. Like, some of the at-bats that he's having against right-handed pitching right now are like really, really impressive. He's becoming a really big part of what we're doing.
What are the sneaky, we've talked about his blocking and throwing, right? But like, what don't we see with Dillon Dingler that allows you to say that with confidence about being a big part of this?
His pitch calling.
Really?
His pitch calling. Yeah.
How
Like,
so?
It's sometimes it can be an invisible skill out there. This guy is obsessed with putting his pitchers in the best possible position to succeed. there are times when there are sequences that work out well for us that lead to a punch out or a fly out or a ground ball or whatever. And he's beating himself up over those because like, did I call the right pitch there? Or is in the right location? Or like, should I have changed, the sight lines? Or should I have, gone with a back foot slider instead there to take the ball out of play in case like there's a misplay in the field?
Always thinking.
Always. Like some of the best people in this game, like whether they are players, coaches, or front office people, are like thoroughly obsessed with excellence and trying to get better. And I've seen that in Ding so far, and it's going to be a trait that's going to carry him a long way in this game.
When you watch a game, can you see all that? Or is it only after the game when you talk to him?
I can't see inside his head of what the alternative pitch call would be, but like you
get a feel for how he
For sure. Like I think one thing we've done really well in this organization is alignment between, how we're building the organization, how we're building the roster, and how we're using the roster. And so we have a lot of conversations with the coaches, AJ, with players about like what their strengths are and how do we maximize those strengths. And so we have a good idea of what we want our pitchers to do, of what we want our hitters to do. And you can kind of see the plan coming together on the field, which is by far the most rewarding part. And it's a credit to the coaches, to the players, and to the entire environment here that we've created.
We had Troy Melton on recently. I would think he's 35. Did you know what that was when you first met him? Like, he seems pretty unflappable for a guy that had every reason to like feel like he was overlooked and have to prove stuff and outwardly do that and all those emotions that get entangled. But he just seems like the perfect guy for you in terms of wanting to tinker and play with stuff. How much did you know this kid that we've seen is what you were going to get, Scott?
We had a lot of confidence in him. Like we were talking about him way before he actually got here. Sometimes that maturity and open-mindedness and adaptability can come through on a podcast. Like I think more often it comes through your actions. Like you've done a lot with this kid. Like, and he is at every turn, he has responded to challenges head on. Like whether it's adding a cutter and a two-seamer, whether it's like adding a split to like give him another weapon against left-handed hitters who hit him pretty hard at certain levels of the minor leagues, or whether it's challenging him in Double-A when he's putting up these gaudy numbers. Hey, listen, like you got to get your best stuff out of the middle of the zone, because when you get to a higher level, like it's going to get hit. So we talk about seeing around the corner, like areas of exposure for our guys. Like I know you're performing really high, really well as a Seawolf here. I'm just telling you, you're not going to be facing like, Double-A hitters for the rest of you're going to like move pretty quickly and you're going to get in the big league. Let's start working on that stuff now. And he didn't bat an eye. Like he just got to work and he turned himself into the pitcher that we're seeing now. And he's got a really bright future in Detroit. Like I think this guy's a starter long-term. I think he's going to be in our rotation for a while, but his open-mindedness to both change the way he was attacking hitters and to fill this role, which is incredibly valuable for us and hopefully will be very valuable in the playoffs if we take care of business the rest of the regular season. That's showing you the type of makeup, the type of character that we really value in the organization.
You said you were kind of planning for this role for the last several months for him, working out of the bullpen, long, short. Why?
I mean, have you seen his stuff? It's pretty good.
Bullpens in the postseason logged more innings than starters.
Yeah.
It feels like he could be a really big piece and a difference maker, a wild card in the postseason.
For sure.
Can you describe how that has changed in the last few years in terms of the role of bullpens in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the underlying logic behind the pitching chaos last year. Like, it's harder to hit when you don't get to face pitchers multiple times. It's harder to hit when you have to adjust to different arm angles and deceptive deliveries and different shapes and different attack plans, like over and over and over again. Like, you saw us in the Astros series in Game 2. Like, we ran a different pitcher out there for every pocket for the entire game. We ended up sweeping the Astros in Houston. Like, I think it's a big part of how you attack hitters in the highest leverage, most important moments in a season. I think a lot of teams are using that logic in the postseason, which is why like you see starters coming out of the game a little bit sooner. We don't want our starters to come out of the game sooner. Like if our starter is the best guy for a pocket and he's already faced him, but he remains the best guy, like let's keep using him. We've shown that with Tarek for sure.
Right.
But again, my job is to give AJ options. Like I want him to both have starters that he believes in, but also have real weapons in the pen that he can call to in a moment when he needs a new, fresh look.
You've mentioned shapes a bunch. I can't help but think that Rosie doesn't even need to watch like Sesame Street with how much conversation there is about shapes in your house. Like square peg, square hole for sure, right? With your daughter?
Yeah,
She's all over the shapes.
Yeah, but we don't talk any baseball at home. My wife and daughter are thoroughly indifferent to baseball, so like we're talking about way different shapes when we get home, and it's been a really rewarding part of my tenure in Detroit. Is now I get to come home to a really cute little one who does not care about baseball at all. So it's a lot easier to leave baseball at the door when I come in.
She doesn't watch it with you? Like she doesn't watch Seawolves games with you?
Well, she goes to bed at 7, so that's tough. Like, yeah.
You always hear about the work-life balance for someone in your position. Have you found that it's just changed completely, that you're able to do that with a baby now? And what is she, 1.5 now?
Yeah, it's especially hard when we're on the West Coast. Like last week I was up till 2 a.m. Like, obviously watching our game and then working on the post-game stuff, and then up real early with a 1-year-old who
she
flies
comes
out
in
of bed
and wakes up.
Oh
Daddy.
yeah. So I try to cram as much work as I can into her nap periods, which
when they go from 2 naps to 1, that's when it really starts.
she just did. So like my windows of work are narrowing, or they're actually just getting later and later
Right.
after she goes to sleep.
That's awesome. I love it. What does she like to watch? Dad likes watching baseball. What does she like to watch?
So she's just determined to walk. She's like singularly focused on walking right now. So all she wants to do is like, she has this little cart that she like walks around the kitchen in. And like I hope I am as proud of anything in my life as she is when she grabs the cart and takes like 4 steps and looks up at us, and it's just absolutely beaming. So she doesn't watch anything right now. She just is trying to walk, and it's pretty fun to watch.
It's a great full circle place to end this.
Yeah.
Because 4 steps and beaming is like kind of what you all want from your players in very specific skill sets. Life doesn't change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been fun to watch, Scott. And as we let you go here, like you've said about the minor leaguers, like we want them to be here as fast as possible. The goal is to win the World Series. You've also talked about wanting to be a consistent winner. Those can sometimes compete, and sometimes they're on the same track. What do you want fans to know about that balancing act and where you stand on it?
Yeah. I want them to know that I'm really competitive. I want them to know that like I'm obsessed with winning. But I also want them to know, I guess, 2 things. One, the stress that you feel right now, like in our games every night, that's a privilege. This organization has gone long stretches without that stress in September and October.
Long.
This is the fun part.
Dan's been here for it. I mean,
This is the really fun part. Like that, your heart racing at 9:45 on a Tuesday night, like that's a privilege. And like, I hope people are enjoying it. We're trying to make sure that is the expectation with the Tigers every single year. We did it last year. We're doing it this year. Like we want to do it as long as we can. And I think when we get super focused on like decisions and trades and all of that stuff, like I think it is important to look out on this field and see how young and talented we are, and see how like there's a really exciting group of young players here that are going to be playing together for a long time, and there's more coming. We talked about a few of them on this podcast. Like the reason that exists is like we didn't really throw these guys into trades at previous winter meetings. Like we didn't just like throw Troy Melton into a deal at a previous deadline, or we didn't throw Dillon Dingler into a deal at a previous winter meetings for another player. Like every time we make a decision on a trade or a signing, it's a bet. And every time we walk away from a deal, it's also a bet. We're betting on these guys, and we have this team together here, and we have more coming, and we have high confidence in both the current, present version of the Tigers and the future version of the Tigers, because we are committed to this group, and we're committed to the development that it takes to get these guys to the big leagues as quickly as we can and win a lot of games here. And so that is, it's what drives us. Like, we're going to keep adding to this group, but there's a reason why we have this group, because we're betting on them, and we like how the bet's going so far.
Scott Harris, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
What was better, the first episode or the second one?
Second one. Oh, man, this is glamorous.
It's all about the setting.
It is. No, it is. That's why we do it here now.
That's right.
Scott, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Scott Harris, President of Baseball Operations for the Tigers this week.